Get ready, folks, for it is that time of the day when we take you on a trip down memory lane. Nostalgia time! The 70s was quite a decade. It especially gave movie enthusiasts a lot to reminisce about, but perhaps nothing comes close to the horrors and thrillers that the decade turned out. Some have the ability to still keep you up at night, and just for that, they have attained the status of a cult classic. Now, without further ado, we will list 15 cult classics of the 70s, from horrors to thrillers. Mind you, they are in no specific order, just the best of the best, from us to you. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Alien, 1979. Alien is a sci-fi horror movie, a classic of the 1970s, directed by Ridley Scott. The movie follows a spaceship called Nostromo, which responds to a distress signal coming from an alien ship. As the crew aboard the spaceship reach the alien ship is when the terror begins, as they discover a nest of eggs inside the ship. Then an organism from the egg attaches itself to one of the members of the crew, and what follows is a thrilling ride that combines the elements of rising tensions and claustrophobia, keeping you intrigued till the very end. Alien was released 40 years ago, and it is still ranked among the most horrifying movies of all time. Its ability to horrify and thrill all at the same time has attained a life of its own, giving rise to a franchise that is very much in demand even in the 21st century. However, none of its successors have lived up to the original, and that is why you should definitely give this one a try if you haven't already. Carrie, 1976. Carrie is a supernatural horror movie based on Stephen King's novel of the same name. Adapted to the screen by Lawrence D. Cohen and directed by Brian De Palma, it is quite a horrifying one for a coming-of-age story. The movie follows the titular character Carrie White, a teenager who lives with her overtly religious and abusive mother, Margaret. Poor Carrie can never seem to catch a break, as she's often bullied at school as well. However, soon she starts noticing supernatural phenomena happening around her. Slowly, she hones her powers, and that is when things start to take a horrifying turn, including a prom with pig blood. Uh-oh. Carrie follows an interesting storyline for a supernatural horror movie. At the center of it all is a sympathetic character, and the movie in itself deals with quite complex themes like religion, bullying, and so on and so forth. Given its depth and its eerie way of expertly handling several themes at once, this movie has attained a cult status amongst movie watchers. If you're one for more than just a simple scary horror movie, this one needs to be at the top of your list. Night Moves, 1975. Night Moves is a neo-noir thriller movie directed by Arthur Penn. The movie follows Harry Mosby, a retired footballer and an investigator who is in the midst of dealing with a broken marriage. Having taken up a case of a runaway daughter, he successfully solves it after finding her hiding out with her stepfather and his lover, Paula. But if that was all, it wouldn't have been on our list. Things get complicated when Harry himself gets involved with Paula, and what follows is way darker and twisted than things initially seemed. As with many cult classics, Night Moves was not a box office success when it was released. However, it did receive positive critical reviews, and over time, its cryptic plot found new love with viewers as well. So, that's why you need to give it a try as well.
And of the Son, of the Holy Spirit, by this sign of the Holy Cross of our...
The Exorcist, 1973. Okay, this one doesn't need an introduction or even a review. Ask just about anyone to name one horror movie, and The Exorcist is probably the name you'd likely hear. Based on a novel by William Peter Blatty and directed by William Friedkin, this movie revolves around a young girl, Reagan, who has been subject to demonic possession. As her mother enlists the help of two priests, what follows is a good versus evil battle tale that is more terrifying than anything you'll be prepared for. If you haven't watched The Exorcist yet, then you really mustn't wait for long. We promise you, this one will scare the living daylights out of you, and you'll like it. Just trust us.
All grown up now. I go to the bathroom by myself and everything. Get down.
Farewell, My Lovely, 1975. Another neo-noir thriller movie on the list. Farewell, My Lovely, directed by Dick Richards, follows a private detective named Phil Marlowe who has been hired by a bank robber on parole to find his girlfriend, Velma. He is soon told that she is dead, but like a detective with good instincts, he investigates further and gets embroiled in a web of crime so intricate that it ties multiple crimes together. Farewell, My Lovely follows a complex, twisted plot that did not find a lot of love when it was first released. But over time, as tastes evolved, it has become a cult classic. Are you one for thrillers with exciting plots? Then this one is tailor-made for you. Halloween, 1978. No horror movie list is going to be complete without a movie titled Halloween, is it? Directed by John Carpenter, Halloween surely lives up to its name, but in a sad way. The movie follows Michael Myers, a 6-year-old who killed his elder sister with a kitchen knife on Halloween night, for which he was sentenced. After having been locked up for 15 years, he escapes at the age of 21. Returning to his hometown, he is on the prowl for more victims. Halloween has attained a cult status among viewers for more than just being a stellar movie. It has been considered to be amongst the first slasher movies that was inspired by Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, a formula that was repeated in several other movies later on. So, if you want something that is similar to Psycho and still different, you really need to give this one a chance. Dawn of the Dead, 1978. We really couldn't keep zombies away from our list for long, could we? Well, they have managed to claw their way in with The Dawn of the Dead, directed by George A. Romero. The movie follows zombies as they swarm the USA, as millions run to find an escape. However, nothing seems to be safe. The movie promises that death will walk the earth, and boy does it deliver on it. Its effects and lots of gore set a standard for zombie movies from there on. Moreover, the movie in itself showcases the depth of filmmaking as it seeks to use horror to shed light on the pitfalls of consumerism.
It was so red and sore and chewed out I couldn't walk for a goddamn week.
Hardcore, 1979. Hardcore is a neo-noir thriller movie written and directed by Paul Schrader. The movie, set in Michigan, follows Jake Van Dorn as he lets his daughter go on a church trip. Nothing dangerous, right? But no, she doesn't come back. What follows is a driven father on a quest to find his lost girl. He first enlists the help of the investigator Andy Mast, who finds out that she has recently starred in a pornographic movie. Startled and sad for his little girl, Jake goes to California, where he poses as a movie producer in the hopes of finding her. Like a few other classics on the list, Hardcore was not an instant hit. However, over time, it found acclaim for the sensitive manner in which it handled the controversial topics of faith and violence, making it one of the most exciting entries on our 70s cult classic list. You really need to give this one a chance, too. Suspiria, 1977. Suspiria is an Italian horror movie, partially based on an essay by Suspiria de Prufinus by Thomas de Quincey and adapted to the screen by Dario Argento and Daria Nicoldi. When it comes to the horror genre, this one has often been called a masterpiece. It follows the protagonist, Susie, as she enrolls in a ballet school in Germany. One night, she notices a fellow student fleeing the school who then gets murdered when she returns to her apartment. Post this, Susie begins to hear noises and often falls sick as more students get murdered. The reason behind all this leads Susie to discover a bone-chilling secret about the school. Suspiria is one of those awe-inspiring horror movies to be ever made. Nightmarish yet thrilling. You're going to be in for a terrifying ride with this one. Do not miss out. The American Friend, 1977. The American Friend is a neo-noir film based on Patricia Highsmith's novel Ripley's Game and directed by Wim Wenders. The movie follows Tom Ripley, an American expatriate living in Hamburg, Germany. He makes his money by selling forged art pieces. To make some extra cash on the side, he agrees to facilitate a murder plot by finding a potential assassin. The seemingly perfect man for the job turns out to be Jonathan Zimmerman, a dying cancer patient whose only wish is to leave some money behind for his family. While Jonathan accepts to play a role in the murder, he is not really an assassin, and Tom's scheme begins to go terribly wrong. The American Friend is an interesting one on our list, not just for being a great movie, but also because it uses a different kind of language concept as we see Jonathan speaking English with Tom and German with his family. A different kind of movie with compelling storytelling. This one is going to be worth a watch. Jaws, 1975. Jaws is a thriller movie directed by Steven Spielberg and is based on the novel by Peter Benchley. The movie follows a giant shark killing people on an island known as Amity Island, giving more than just one generation of viewers terrifying nightmares about sharks. The movie follows Martin Brody, Matt Hooper, and Quint on their quest to capture the shark. The movie is a cult classic, and like with The Exorcist, it would be difficult to find someone who hasn't heard of it. Ever since its release, many different aspects of the movie have taken a life of their own, such as the discussion of whether the shark in itself was scary or not, John Williams' score, and so on and so forth. For all of these reasons, it has become a cult classic, and if you haven't watched it already, what are you waiting for? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a horror movie directed and produced by Tobe Hooper. The movie follows Sally Hardesty as she travels with her brother and friends to investigate the news of her grandfather's grave being vandalized reaches her. When Sally and others reach the grave site, they find it to be undisturbed, so they take a quick trip to her family's farmhouse, only to stumble upon some murderous cannibals living next door. A few of them get attacked by a man wearing a mask made out of human skin, wielding a chainsaw, and then it's up to the rest of the group to find any way to survive. One of the greatest horror movies to be ever made, it's still considered to be amongst the best in the genre, often ranking amongst the most terrifying movies ever to be made. Like with Halloween on the list, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre also combines elements of slasher and horror and keeps you at the edge of your seat right to the very end. If you're looking for something to terrify you right to the very core, this one needs to be on your list. Phantasm, 1979. Phantasm is a horror sci-fi movie directed by Don Coscarelli. The movie begins with a mystery, as the residents of a town begin to die under really mysterious circumstances. The movie follows Mike as he investigates the mysterious deaths, and his investigation leads to the Tall Man, the supernatural mortician who has been killing people and reanimating them into little zombies who end up attacking people. Phantasm is a fantastic horror movie which combines innovation and thrill to move beyond the conventional zombie story plot. The use of a spear-like weapon to drain blood from a person as it lands on their forehead, and the use of a funeral home in the middle of a graveyard leading to scary basements amongst others are some of the unforgettable aspects of this movie. On a side note, Phantasm also has a sequel, Phantasm 2. Check out that one as well.
What did you do? I said, what did you do? You hit the alarm. I told you not to do it, and you did it.
The Friends of Eddie Coyle, 1973. The Friends of Eddie Coyle is a neo-noir crime film directed by Peter Yates. The movie follows Eddie Coyle, a gun runner who is facing jail time if he does not cooperate and give information to Dave Foley, an ATF agent. As he gives up a gun runner, Jackie Brown, his agent is not satisfied. So he also decides to give up a gang of bank robbers, the very gang whom he has been supplying weapons. But there's a twist in the tale, as Coyle gets to know that Foley already knows about them. To twist the knife a little deeper, the rumors about Coyle being a snitch intensify. An interesting title for an interesting novel and crime thriller, this movie was not an immediate hit, but received high critical acclaim. However, as rooted in realism it was bound to find love somewhere along the way, as cult classics usually do. Winter Kills, 1979. Winter Kills, written and directed by William Reichert, is an interesting one to finish off this list, as it is a comedy thriller movie. The movie is a satirical take on all the conspiracy theories surrounding former U.S. President John F. Kennedy's assassination. The movie follows Nick Keegan, the younger brother of another assassinated U.S. president, and his investigation leads to thrilling discoveries behind JFK's murder as well. Winter Kills, unlike some of the other cult classics on the list, neither found box office success nor critical acclaim at the time of its release. However, given the interest in JFK all these years later and the movie's rather unconventional plot, Winter Kills was able to gain a cult following later on. If you're one for the cocktail of murder mysteries and conspiracy theories, because who isn't, this movie is not something you will want to miss out on. Marvelous verdict. So, there we are, folks, with some of the best movies from the 70s. The list is an exciting one for our horror and thriller fans, and even if you happen to be just a movie enthusiast, there is something for you as well. Do you agree with our list? Or is there something else you want to suggest? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.